Welcome to Say More in Raymore, the City of Raymore's official podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Harmer, Communications Director for the city. So today, our guest is a Navy veteran, someone who had a 36-year police career between Raytown and Raymore police departments, spending 26 years as a chief of police, retiring in 2012. Had the public service bug after that retirement, so ran for mayor in 2016, and he has been reelected 4 times. He serves on many regional boards, including the Cass County ESB, Emergency Services Board, the MARC Board of Directors, that's Mid-America Regional Council, the Planning and Zoning Commission, the Little Blue Valley Sewer District Board of Trustees, the Rotary Club Optimists, has a Bachelor of Arts in Criminal Justice from Avila, a Master's in Public Administration from Park University, and also served 39 years in the U.S. Navy Reserve, called to active duty 3 times after 9/11, retired at the rank of captain. It is our very own Mayor Kris Turnbow.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm great. Yeah, today's great.
Good.
Beautiful day.
Well, thank you for being here, and hopefully our residents can learn a little bit more about you if they don't know very much already, and hopefully my intro gave us a few points we can talk about.
Sure. Well, we're constantly getting new residents into this growing community, and so I'm sure there are people wondering who is Kris Turnbow. So I'm happy to be here this morning to try to get to the bottom of things, as you would say.
So tell me, where did you grow up, and just tell me a little bit about that, and then what made you want to get into public service? Of course, your career first started with
Raytown.
With Raytown.
Yeah.
Well,
so,
or was it with?
It was with the Navy,
the
really.
Navy, yes,
yeah,
first.
Out of high school. So, so I was born and raised in Raytown. Mom and Dad moved there in 1950. I was born in 52. Spent my life there growing up. It was a great community to grow up in. Graduated from Raytown South High School in 1970. And about a year later, after I'd gone a year to college at Rockhurst, I realized college wasn't my thing. So I ended up going into the Navy. My dad had been in the Navy, and I'd always seen myself potentially going into the Navy anyway. So I went into the Navy. I was an aviation structural mechanic, an enlisted kid, and went to boot camp up at Great Lakes, and then got stationed out at NAS Moffett Field in California. And prior to going out there, though, I got married. And I was 19 years old, so we moved out to California. I took my new bride with me. While we were there, we had my oldest son, Scott. He was born in 1974. And I got the bug when I came home. My brother-in-law, Larry Smith, who had actually worked here part-time with us when I was on one of my deployments and stayed on as a mentor, he was a deputy out in Johnson County, Kansas. And we came home on leave one time with the new baby, and he says, "Hey, why don't you come ride with me tonight?" And so I rode with him his entire shift, and there were so many things going on in Johnson County, Kansas, and I saw some of the wonderful things that he was doing with people, helping them. He was kind of my, not a mentor, but kind of sort of, but loved Larry. He has since passed, unfortunately, but he and I really clicked that evening. He told me some things about law enforcement and why he'd gotten into it. And so when we went back to California, I actually went through a reserve officer program with the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office, and had just graduated from their academy when the end of my enlistment came up. So my wife and I, we decided to come home back to the Kansas City area. And I originally had applied to the Johnson County Sheriff's Office, naturally, but they weren't hiring at the time. And my old hometown of Raytown was. They had a grant program going on at the time, and they were hiring 5 new officers. And so I was having prior military service. That's always something that, especially back then at the end of the Vietnam War, police departments around the country were looking for those individuals who had that desire to continue their public service life, which I did. So I became a police officer there in Raytown. And in 1983, I ran for, after I got my degree in 81, I ran for and was elected police chief there in Raytown in 1983. Got elected 4 more times, ended up retiring from there in 1996 to go into the private sector. I went to work for Hallmark Cards in their security, as their security manager over distribution at the Liberty facility. and commuted from Raytown up there. Really missed police work. I became a reserve officer with Sugar Creek Police Department, and that 2.5 years that I was out of law enforcement. So I was actually part-time law enforcement and got the bug. I was back on the street as a patrol officer, helping people, doing things. Really missed law enforcement. And when the job came open here in Raymore, I put in for it and was fortunate enough to get selected in June of 1999 and then stayed on here. The whole time in both careers, I was still in the Navy Reserve. When I came home, I stayed in the Reserve. But I had converted from being an aviation structural mechanic to an intelligence specialist, and then got my commission in 1982 after I'd gotten my degree in 81. Became an officer in the intel world, and the rest is history. Got called up 3 times after 9/11 as police chief here. I'd only been here a couple of years when 9/11 happened. In fact, we were still in the old facility the morning of the tragedy of the attack, and it was a real eye-opener. I had just become the commanding officer for the unit the day before that I was over. It was a 66-person unit out of Scott Air Force Base. It was a joint intel command, and had to activate about half of my unit. And about a month later, I got called to go to the Pentagon. So I was there for about a year, working for a joint intelligence task force. And anyway, finally got loose after 2 years, because first year they took me there to the Pentagon. Then the next year, the person I was reporting back to at Scott Air Force Base for a U.S. Transportation Command, he retired, and they didn't have his replacement. And so they activated me a year to be the director of the counterintelligence staff office there at Scott Air Force Base. So I was commuting from time to time back to Raymore to kind of keep track of things. Captain Mayberry, who was acting chief at the time, he did a great job filling in for me. They kept me updated on what was going on with the department while I was away. And then again, got called up in 2000, got home in 2003 for good for a little while, and then in 2008 got activated again to go to Iraq. That was hard. That was 14 months of advising over there. It's another long story. I don't know how far we're going with the podcast today, but in my duties in Iraq in all of 2009, the first couple of months of 2010, I was an advisor to the Iraqi Training and Advisory Mission, ITAM, and I had 3 responsibilities. I was the director of security over the counterintelligence, the counter-explosives program, the criminal investigations division program, and the forensics laboratories. In fact, during my tenure there, we outfitted, they were building them, and we outfitted 5 forensics labs throughout the country so that the country of Iraq could move from a he said, she said kind of accusation. It was about the only thing that happened in their court systems. They had a little ballistics capabilities for evidentiary purposes, but they really didn't have any solid kind of forensics capabilities for the purpose of determining who might be guilty or not guilty on a specific crime. They didn't have any DNA. They didn't have any fingerprints, so to speak. So we built all those systems up for the Iraqi government so they could build a better rule of law kind of system, similar but different than what we do here in a Western culture here in the United States, but better than what they had. My one fingerprint that I left in Iraq would be attributed to a 24-point crime scene preservation checklist. Got that approved through the Criminal Investigations Division. I had a team that I worked with, and we put together a great checklist, because over there in Iraq, the Arab culture is that if someone is killed, They cleanse the body, wrap them in linen within 24 hours, and then they bury them. So it's if you have a chaotic crime scene, like a bombing, like an active shooter, it's kind of different. Their emergency management teams of people are almost like a serve pro, so to speak. They go in, they clean the scene, and all the evidence is washed away. And so you really don't have any preservation of physical evidence to determine who was the person that was guilty for this particular crime. So we had to create this checklist for their law enforcement so that when they did arrive, they could secure the scene, obviously render aid to those injured, but leave the scene intact until evidence could be recovered. So this 24-item checklist was designed specifically for that, so that all the evidence could be collected. That was a real task to get that through. And we finally got that through the Iraqi government's National Security Council, and it is now implemented in their Iraqi police college training syllabus for preservation of evidence. I haven't been there since 2010. I don't know if it's continuing to be practiced, but that checklist did help them kind of start the process for evidence preservation. So that was kind of my little fingerprint that I left on the country of Iraq.
Did you also leave a literal fingerprint? Was your fingerprint the first one used as a sample?
I guess it could have been.
Could have been.
Yeah, it could have been. I do know that I did give blood so that they could do DNA.
Oh,
so that was kind of fun because we had the DNA infrastructure that we put into these forensic laboratories so they could check for DNA. So that was kind of fun to watch that. And at the Baghdad Police College, that's where our scientists actually taught their scientists how to use all of this equipment. And so that that's a lot to talk about with regard to where I'm at today. Like you said in the introduction, I retired here from Raymore in 2012. Actually went to work as the director for the Missouri Peace Officers Association, their executive director. It was a part-time position that the MPOA is the oldest law enforcement professional organization in the state of Missouri. And I became the executive director for about 2.5 years, and then decided that I really wanted to continue to serve Raymore. My home was here. Loved being police chief here, although it is kind of a joke when people ask me, how long were you police chief in Raymore? And I said, about 12.5 years, and the officers that I work with here always wink at me as to say, well, you were gone for about 3.5 of those years on active duty.
Well, you had to do.
You're right, I was.
Had to be gone.
So, but the city was great to me. They always welcomed me back with open arms and always supported my family and myself while I was away. Vicki, my wife, she was tremendous, holding the home front down while I was away. And a lot of those things create that kind of love for a community. And so that's why I felt in 2016 I had continued kind of watch the goings on of the government here, and I felt like I could still contribute from my former experiences, my desire to continue to serve, and that's why I ran for mayor in 2016. And gosh, over the past almost 10 years now, things have really blossomed here in the community. And it's been fun to be a part of that. There's a great team here at City Hall. We've got a great council. When you're a united front, you can get a lot accomplished.
Well, and since you started here in 99, in your time here, our population has more than doubled.
It has.
You have seen so many new facilities come on, so many more people come here to raise their families, and everything has just grown so much. What is it that you think has been the biggest accomplishment since you've been mayor? I guess if we take it just back to 2016,
Sure.
What have you seen that has made you really proud to be the mayor of our city?
So, well, the the industrial growth, which can provide job opportunities for our residents, I think has been a great accomplishment. I know people get kind of a little upset with all the warehouses, but they bring hundreds, almost thousands of jobs to our community. And while there are people that come into our community to take those jobs, there are locals too that are working in those facilities. And I think for our young people, one of the things that I learned early on working with the other governments here in Cass County right after I became mayor is that there was a desire to try to keep our young people here. Statistics show that a young person that goes away to college or goes to college here and gets a college degree, about 80% of them leave the community. We'd love for them to stay here, but in order for them to do that and want to live nearby, is that there has to be job opportunities for them in and around the area. So we're working toward that, trying to keep our youth here so that they have established their homes. Hopefully they'll continue to look for to establish their own home here near their parents. The other issue is young people who don't but get into the trades, that don't go to college but get into the trades. That's almost 70% actually stay in their community if they if they continue to get into the trades, and they'll stay in the area. And so that's what I love about the Raypex School District is they've started this leads program, yes. And it's phenomenal. It is helping us grow our future here, and I just love that about the Raypex School District. I mean, they've done a great job, and Dr. Slagle and I get along great. He's a wonderful individual and has a great vision for the school district.
And there aren't a lot of centers like that are teaching real world business lessons like that.
Well, there are a lot of districts that have, a lot of districts have that workforce program in it, but I don't know that they have developed it to the point where, you've got the lead center up here teaching all the trades. They've now incorporated a relationship with Heavy Operators 101. They've got heavy equipment out there by the East Middle School where kids can learn to run and operate those heavy pieces of equipment to get into the trade. They built a house on premises at the high school to help kids learn how to do household chores, and it's just a great school district, and that's one of the things that I think draws people to our community. It's a safe community. I think the government is very stable, and the school district's top notch.
All attractive things.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't you want to live in Raymore?
Right. If there is one moment in your time here, whether it was as police chief or as mayor, that made you stop and think, like, this is why I do this, is there anything that stands out as one defining moment?
Well, of course, killing the landfill as mayor. You and I worked very closely together on that one, as did the rest of the team here at City Hall. And that was very gratifying when we were able to eventually tell our community we were safe. And that was a defining moment as mayor. Now, as police chief, there are multiples. There are, when you get to work with the public every day, and you not necessarily have successes every day, but when the successes do occur, it's very rewarding. When you're able to help an individual either change directions with their life to a more productive path, whether you help someone out in an emergent situation and save a life, whether you're able to bring justice to a family that has been wronged by a criminal and catch that criminal and bring them to justice. There are a lot of things within law enforcement that motivate these wonderful officers that we have here, and many area departments. But I've seen it in the eyes and the actions of the officers here, where they just love what they do. Take, for instance, Trey Wilson. Yeah, he's a wonderful officer who has embodied what law enforcement in a community like Raymore should be. When he goes in to a hot call, he brings a calmness. His size itself will cause people to react, to calm down. His demeanor also brings that to a situation, that calms a situation. And then his caring attitude and follow-up, helping young people, following up with them, finding out how they're doing. That kind of nurturing in a community is what I love to do too. So I see a little bit of myself in him when I was a law enforcement officer. I loved following up with families who'd either been traumatized by crime or had an incorrigible young person in the household that needed direction and wasn't getting it at home, or wasn't understanding it. And I think when you have a young man like Trey do that, it just makes you feel good that you know that you've left a department in great hands. Chief Wilson does a great job of nurturing that kind of behavior in his officers, and I think
for anyone that doesn't know, they're not related.
Oh no, that's true. They're not
just
related.
have the same last name, but they're not related.
That's true. Although I think Trey has gotten a lot of pass-me-downs from Chief Wilson's old equipment.
Well, as long as it still works.
That's right. Yeah. As long as it still works.
Yeah. What do you see as the next big area of development for the city of Raymore?
Yeah, I think we have to concentrate on our transportation. Transportation has become so important for people to get to and from, either if they're an elderly individual, to get to and from the doctor or shopping or whatever it's going to take. And then for a workforce, if they have a job that's outside the area, how are they going to get there? Gasoline is not going to get any cheaper. The cost of transportation is not getting any less. And I think for people in our community, they need to get where they've got to go, And we have a great infrastructure system here. We have a great public works department that keeps our roads in great shape. But I do feel like transportation and the ability to move people from one place to another is something that we have to concentrate a little bit more on. And so I'm hoping that, that as our strategy for growing this community moves forward, that we're making sure our infrastructure is adequate in place. And what other opportunities for alternative transportation are there to our community? We're right on the edge of a major metropolitan area. We're naturally going to have to look into those things. And I think we can bring a lot more relief to folks here in our community if we can concentrate on those transportation opportunities. I know Mr. Townsend sits on the KCAT board, ATA board. That's the Kansas City Area Transit Authority. And he lives here in Raymore. He's constantly thinking about and working with the people on the board to see what kind of opportunities they can bring to Cass County. So I think we just have to continue to work on those items and strategize on and thinking outside the box and strategizing what kind of other alternatives are there. Sure.
So where do you see the city in 5 years from now? Are you still the mayor?
Who knows? Maybe not. If there are things that I feel like I can continue to contribute to, I will do it. But I think in 5 years, where we're going to see our city is we have to make a determination through our comprehensive plan how we pretty much outlined it. I think now we have to carry it out. Specific I know there's been a concentration on specific numbers or percentages of the types of living opportunities that there are here in town, whether it be single family, duplexes, multifamily, townhomes, condos. We have to have a range of those that give people an opportunity to live here in Raymore. We can't rely on just single family homes to help support this community and to give people an opportunity. If they want to live in Raymore, let them live in Raymore. And if that means you rent an apartment or a condo or a townhome, or you're able to purchase your own home, what are the levels of capability for that? House prices have gone astronomical, and so it's difficult. So you have to kind of grow into your ability to buy a single family home. And we'd like to have those other opportunities for living arrangements here that are more affordable, but give you the opportunity to prepare for your own future, and hopefully that's here in Raymore. And that, I think, so in the next 5 years, housing, we have to concentrate on what percentages we want split on those different opportunities to live here in Raymore, and we have to get comfortable with that. And the market, of course, is always going to kind of push us in one direction or another. If a landowner wants to sell their land to a company that wants to build apartments, we have to make sure that they're the kind of apartments that fit into our community. I don't think we can push them away necessarily, but we have to make sure that it's the kind that will come in, do a great job in constructing it and then managing it, and then keeping it nice so that it blends in with the aesthetics of our beautiful community.
Right. You're on so many boards and commissions and in clubs, and what do you do when you're not working? When you're not here or when you're not attending a meeting, what do you do for fun?
Well, Vicki and I will travel a little bit. She just recently retired within the last year, but she's working part-time for the Chamber of Commerce here in Raymore now. And because that's her passion, is the chamber world. And she loves to serve in that capacity. But we've got a couple of trips planned here over the next several months. Golf is one of my passions. While I'm still able to play golf and play it fairly decently, I love to do that when I have an opportunity.
How is your game? If you throw out a number, I'm not going to know what you're talking about, but maybe someone will.
No. I'm about a 10 handicapper.
Okay.
So that's about where I'm at. Sometimes better, sometimes worse. It's the game of golf, you know. But the local courses here, of course, Creekmore is one of the premier courses in the metropolitan area.
Right.
So it is a layout. Creekmore, the whole Creekmore area, the homes, the lake, the amenities they have, the golf course. So proud of what they've done. Cooper Development has done with that, and continues to do. It's just a beautiful community. And then we have other areas of town that have kind of emulated what they've done at Creekmore with their quality living arrangements. You got Eagle Glen, you got Parkside. I mean, they're just places that continue to grow and are beautiful. And now we've got the Sendera project going on out south of Hubach. The infrastructure is in. Hopefully, we'll be seeing homes come up there soon. That's. Where were we at on the question?
A lot of good stuff going on.
Yeah, there is a lot of good stuff going on.
I said, what do you do when you're not here? But
that.
Then you go back.
Then I go back to what
work.
we're doing here. I know. It's hard not to.
Right.
It really is hard not to. It's Mr. Fearborn and I have a great relationship. Mr. Fearborn's the city manager here, and known him. Of course, I got to work with him when I was police chief, and we have a great relationship. He has a great feel for the comprehensive plan that is in place, and gives his team his management team the reins to do their job, and I love that about him. He's not a micromanager, but he is always insisting that people follow the comprehensive plan and move in the right direction, and listen to the council and what the council's input is. I love that about him, and he is I think he has a real vision of the priorities of the community and a finger on the pulse of the community. So he's a good leader, and it's just enjoyable to work with and move forward. And of course, I know everybody here too. It's having been a part of the staff here, it has helped. I think with me as mayor, it has helped them know that they have a supportive element at the elected level as well.
You've been there. You've experienced that.
Exactly. Yeah. I know what it feels like to not be supported from time to time.
And we don't want that.
And we don't want that. No.
Who is your favorite staff member? I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Don't answer that. Well, first I want to ask you a question. Then I'll tell you. Then I'm going to reveal something to you.
Oh, okay. All right.
So our residents have submitted names for snowplows. Our public works crew is going to name their snowplows again.
Yeah, Vicki was telling me they had
so I
the
think she
snowplow
submitted a
naming
couple.
going. Oh, okay.
So I took the list of everything, and it's blind. They're going to pick. They don't know who submitted anything, but they're going to pick from the list.
Uh-huh.
Now this won't count because they're already picking.
Right.
But do you have a suggested name? If you could name one, what do you know what it would be? Do you have a?
Oh gosh.
Can you think of anything?
You know, when she and I were talking the other day about that, I came up with one. Now I can't remember what it was. I really don't. I don't have a name.
So now I'm going to tell you. Do you know that somebody submitted the name Mayor Snow?
Oh, I like that. Mayor Snow.
Yeah.
I like that.
So I don't know if anyone would be intimidated to choose that for their truck, but it is in there, and there was also a Jim Flurryborn.
Oh, Flurryborn. I love it.
So we'll see if any of those make the final cut. But, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
But
We'll see.
Yeah, I just want to let you know that someone was thinking of you. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was probably my wife, wasn't it?
No, it was actually Alex.
Oh, oh, really?
It was.
I knew I liked her.
Yeah. What is one of the most fun things about your job as a mayor? I feel like I'm jumping all over here, but I'm just thinking of you do a lot of serious stuff, but you also get to do a lot of fun stuff. So what is one of the most fun parts of your job?
So I love the flexibility of being a part-time mayor, and one of the funnest things to do is to get out and just visit with folks in the community, and because I'm not tied to the office because of hours or anything, I do love talking to folks and just getting out and being around the community. And I mean, I like my two service organizations, Rotary and the Optimist Club. The Optimist Club makes you get out of bed real early on Tuesday mornings. So it gets me a good early start and a good breakfast. But the people there are wonderful. The former mayor, Mayor Kirchhoff, is a member there, and so I get to see him every Tuesday and visit with him. Yeah, it's a good group, and the Rotary, you know, they're kind of different. Of course, Rotary is also another charitable organization that likes to do projects within the community. The Optimist Club is extremely dedicated to the youth of our community and helping them be successful. And I love that part about it as well. So the two organizations complement one another, and so I do like being a part of those. And they're service related again, but you know, it just grows and makes a stronger community.
And then in addition to that, you do attend a lot of community events hosted by the city, Parks and Recreation,
Chamber of
Arts
Commerce,
Commission, Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
So you are out there quite a bit. So if anyone hasn't seen you, maybe they can hit up some of those events.
Yeah.
And
yeah, we had the
stop you and
stream
say
clean
hello.
up Saturday morning. I drug my 9-year-old grandson out there so he'd get a little shot of public service there. He had fun.
Weirdly, it is kind of fun when you're doing something like that together with other people. Even though you're picking up trash, it is a good sense of accomplishment.
It really is.
Yeah.
And you feel like you're doing really good. So in fact, we were there last year, and this year, because we had a great crowd last year. We had a good crowd this year, but it seemed like there wasn't as much trash.
Ooh, that's good.
So that excites me, that people are beginning to really take care of their parks. I like that, and I'm really proud of the people here in Raymore. They do take pride in the park system, which is a very robust, very accommodating park system that we have here. And then, of course, our events through the summer are absolutely wonderful. You're a part of that. I appreciate you and the Arts Commission and what you do, and bringing entertainment to our community for people to be able to locally enjoy those kinds of events.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome.
We have a lot of good stuff going on.
We do have a lot of good stuff going on, and we're preparing for quite the 4th of July celebration next year.
Yes.
Celebrating not only our the World Cup coming here, but the 250th anniversary of our country. It's going to be very patriotic as we move forward here.
And then the next year after that, in 27, will be Raymore's sesquicentennial
That's right.
150th birthday celebration. And we'll have some meaningful events, and I have some cool things planned for that. So hopefully...
Yeah, in that one, we can just concentrate on us.
Right.
Next year, it's the country. But the year after that,
yes.
it's
yes.
Raymore.
Well, is there anything you would like to leave us with in closing?
Well, I want to wish everyone well in our community. I feel like we don't thank them enough as a city for their support. They've been very generous with their tax dollars to allow us to provide the kinds of services that we're able to provide. The most recent one would have been the public safety sales tax that will allow us to add 8 new police officers to the department, adding to an ability to provide even better safety to our community. And I think that's really important. As in the national government, the number one reason the national government exists is to provide national security. It comes down to local. The number one priority for the city of Raymore is to provide public safety to our community. And I think the people of our community realize that, and anytime there is something that they can do to help support public safety, they do. Now, they're always very complimentary of the other amenities, the parks, the public works department, roads, snow removal, things like that. They're very supportive of those as well. But it does seem like we have our priorities in place here to just make this a great community, and I've always appreciated that about the people of Raymore.
That's a lovely note to end on.
Right.
Thank you so much for...
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.